Hi, friends. Welcome to this week's marketing. Thank you for your flexibility as this was actually postponed from last week. I do not recommend getting the coronavirus when you're 8.5 months pregnant, but feeling much better. So I appreciate your flexibility. Thank you for all of your well wishes. I am feeling thankfully much better, and I'm not here blowing my nose, coughing, and doing all of those kinds of things. So happy Friday to you. Really happy that you are here, that you're joining me for this marketing training. If you are joining live, hi, thanks for being here. Feel free to drop a hello in the comments. Let me know where you're joining from. If you are catching the replay today, awesome. Glad you were able to sneak in when this fit your schedule. Please do drop a hashtag replay into the comments just to make sure that I can see any questions you may have, because I absolutely want this to be interactive. If I am saying something and you're like, hey, I don't know what that means, or you have a thought or a comment, please do drop that into the comments below. I would love to chat with you. You will see that in these marketing trainings, we're always going back and forth. There are trainings that are over a year old that people will still go watch and we'll get to chat about. So whenever you're watching this, whether it's here today on January 15th, 2021, or sometime next year, I'm happy you're here, and feel free to say hello in the comments. If this is your first time joining a marketing training, we have actually almost 100 new faces in the group this week. Wow. Hi, my name is Anna Walker. This is my face. And I do these marketing trainings every 2 weeks here inside of Get Booked Out. And the goal here is to make sure that I am giving you some actionable advice that you can put into practice inside of your practice. Obviously, everything in this group is dedicated to marketing, but we don't just talk about every single kind of marketing here in the group, because I know that you are right now faced with a lot of advice, right? If you're looking at how to grow your practice, there are so many tips and tricks and strategies out there. It can be hard to know who to listen to, what to do, and how to avoid all that overwhelm. So what we do inside of this group is we break down what all of those strategies actually are and what's actually going to help you get results. The other thing we're really passionate about inside of this group is making sure that you're not just effective in your marketing, because of course I don't want you doing anything that isn't resulting in clients, but is also authentic to you. It is so critical to me that clinicians, when they are out marketing themselves, right, that's a very vulnerable thing. And it's really important that you feel authentic in your own marketing, because your clients are going to sniff it out, right? If you don't feel good about the strategy that you're using, even if it's a strategy that someone who's an expert has told you to use, if you don't feel good about it, that's going to come through and it's not going to work. So I want you to learn how to really market yourself authentically inside of this group, and to do it through channels that are proven to be effective. So that's what we're all about here. Thank you for being here. Let's dive into today's topic, which is 3 ways to kickstart your marketing in 2021. So we made it through 2020. Holy cow. I cannot think of very many other groups other than therapists and many of our other frontline workers that endured as much change and had to overcome as many obstacles as you did last year. So I know that, wow, it was a year, and hopefully 2021 requires a little bit less pivoting, a little bit less adjustment than last year. But the thing is that we can learn a lot from last year, and that as you look forward now into what your practice is going to hold in 2021, there are some things that we can take away from 2020 and start putting into action in some smart ways. So there are 3 things I want to go through with you today that I really encourage you do as you sit down and plan for what your practice is going to look like in 2021. The very first thing that I want you to do, and this might sound scary, is I want you to look at your numbers. And this is something that I encourage a lot of my clinicians and clients to do. And they're like, but I don't like math. I don't like those things. You don't have to be a math whiz. You don't have to be a tech whiz to look at your numbers and learn from them. There are a couple key things that I really suggest you look at. Number 1 is your website analytics. Hopefully, whatever platform you have your website built on, be that WordPress or Squarespace or Wix or something like that, that you have some numbers. You have some idea of how many people were visiting your website, where they were coming from, what they did on your website, perhaps, what pages were most popular, things like that. Now, if you don't have like a super in-depth analytics tool installed on your website, that's okay. Although I do recommend every therapist leverage Google Analytics. It is a free tool. But even if you don't, you have just some basic information. What I want you to do is take a look at what you do have and ask yourself, does this tell me anything? Maybe you saw a big uptick in traffic to your website in the later half of the year. Maybe you saw that people were coming to you from Facebook a lot, or that you were getting a lot of referrals from Psychology Today. Maybe you're taking a look at more of the SEO side of things, and you're seeing that people were coming to you. Often that's called organic. They're coming to you through search, which is a good sign. That shows that hopefully you're showing up in search results for relevant. When people are typing relevant things into Google. Whatever it is, I just want you, this is all we're doing with our data. You don't have to get really in depth. I just want you to look and say, is there anything I can learn from this? Because if you saw an uptick in a specific month, what happened that month? Did you try a new marketing initiative? Did you reach out to a networking, contact, and all of a sudden you started to see some more traffic? Think about what happened that corresponded to some drops or some upticks that you could maybe learn from. Again, we're not going to be intimidated by our numbers. We're just going to say, okay, what can I learn here? Another key data point I want you to look at are your Psych Today analytics. So many clinicians log into their Psychology Today profile, and the first thing they see is their data, and they never actually consume what that means. So actually, next week's marketing training is going to be all about how to understand your Psychology Today analytics. So be sure to join us for that. But what I want you to be curious about is look at how many people clicked into your profile compared to the number that saw it. Is that number high? We usually like for that to be in the 5 to 7% range. Is it really low? That might show us that you weren't showing up in results very often. That could be because you don't have a video, or that when you were showing up in results, you weren't really resonating with people. So maybe that's a sign that we need to make some changes. Maybe you're seeing a lot of people click over to your website. So you're seeing a ton of website clicks, but then you're reflecting back and realizing, I didn't get a whole ton of clients through Psychology Today. Well, that shows us that your profile did a good job of getting them to your website. So maybe it's your website where we need to spend some time optimizing. Can you see how if you just look at this data and just ask yourself some basic questions, how you can really start to glean some insights on what this is telling you? Don't have to be intimidated by it. These are simple numbers. Just ask yourself what you can learn. The last data point I suggest you take a look at are your consultations. Hopefully you keep some sort of track of the people that you talk to, right? Whether or not they become paying clients. But ask yourself, how successful were your consultations in converting into paying clients? A lot of times I'll sit down with a client and say, with a therapist of mine, and they will say, if I can just get someone on the phone, they almost always become a paying client, which is awesome. But there are other clinicians that find that they're really intimidated by the consultation, and in fact aren't really getting as many conversions as they would like. Okay, what can we learn from that? We can learn that maybe there needs to be clear communication about what to expect in the consultation. Maybe you need to practice how you talk about the fact that you are private pay only, or that you're only an out-of-network provider. Maybe that's where you're kind of feeling that breakdown. Maybe ask yourself if there was a certain referral source that was really beneficial to your practice. Maybe everyone that came through Psychology Today was a great fit. That's an awesome sign, and that shows us that your Psychology Today profile is doing what it should. Maybe there's a specific referral source. Maybe if you look back at who referred clients into, a specific physician or another therapist, they're actually sending ideal clients your way, and that's a sign that you need to be continuing to invest in that relationship. So take a look back at the people that you got to speak to last year, whether or not they actually resulted in paying clients, and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? The goal here is, like I said, to look at things with a spirit of curiosity and say, what can I learn from this? But what you want to start identifying is, what was the common thread between the clients that you did book? And that takes us to the second way to kickstart your marketing in 2021 is I want you to revisit your ideal client. Now, one thing that so many practitioners forget, and I think it's because the advice around choosing a niche is so specific out there. One thing so many practitioners forget is that your niche is supposed to evolve. It's supposed to change. It's okay if your ideal client changes over time. It's okay if your niche takes different shapes over time. You're supposed to make those ongoing changes to how you talk about what you do, how you market yourself, and who you market yourself to. So if you are new in your practice, say 1 to 2 years or newer, then be encouraged knowing that if your niche is changing a little bit, that's okay, that that means that you're doing a really good job of getting to know your ideal client better, right? As you practice, as you market yourself, you're learning what you love to do, right? And what you maybe don't love to do. You're learning who is actually a great fit for you and who isn't. And you're also learning the things that are resonating with people and the things that aren't, right? So if you try to phrase what you do on your website in a certain way and it fell flat, great, then pivot. If you chose a niche right when you started in your practice and it's not relevant anymore, it's not right for you, or you know that those clients aren't in fact who you want to book, that's okay. You're allowed to make changes. And I don't think practitioners are told that enough. So if you want to kickstart your marketing this year, revisit who that ideal client is. It is so easy to just continue in your practice and to just stay in your existing routines and to not ever kind of step back and take a look again at where you are. Chances are that your ideal client today is different than they were a year ago. And that's okay. But your marketing needs to be updated to reflect that. And so I've had a lot of conversations. I've done quite a few practice power hours, which are my intense 1 hour strategy sessions with clients this past month. And so we've been doing a lot of this reflecting on last year. And a lot of times we're finding that their ideal client, they thought was this and is actually this, or they always thought were these 4 things when in fact they're this one thing. And that is making all of their marketing so much easier. We're able to make a way more effective website. We're able to make a way more effective Psychology Today profile because they're revisiting who that person is, right? And the other thing to keep in mind is that the world has changed in the last year, right? And so not only have you maybe changed who you want to work with, but the person you want to work with has changed, right? Their life is different. The challenges that they're facing are different. The reasons that they're seeking out therapy are different. So sit down and reflect on this. Again, ask yourself, what was the common thread between the clients that I loved to work with last year? What was the common thread between the clients that I didn't as much love to work with or that weren't a good fit? That's going to start to show you, okay, how do I need to pivot the way that I market myself in order to get more of those right fit clients, right? So ask yourself questions like, how have my ideal client needs changed in the last year? What's different? What do they need that's different? What is motivating them to look for therapy right now? And like I said, that might be different than it was a year ago. And what can I offer them that those around me can't? This is a question that every single time I ask a therapist in a strategy session, they clam up. They're like, I don't know what I offer that no one else does. But the fact is, you offer something no one else does. And your marketing gets so much more powerful the minute you learn what that is and you lean into it. So ask yourself, why did those really successful clients from last year, why did they trust me? Why were we so productive in our work together? And part of it is certainly because of them, right? Hopefully they were the type of client that loves to show up and do the work of therapy. But the fact is that you also brought something into those sessions. You do something that is unique and that is valuable. And I really want you to be willing to toot your own horn and lean into what that is, because if you can bring that into your marketing, along with this increased knowledge about who your ideal client is, it makes it so much easier for you to market yourself. So after you revisit your ideal client, then you're going to revisit your marketing, right? So I want you to take a critical look at your Psychology Today profile through this lens of new insight. I want you to take a look at your website. When was the last time you went to your own website? I know that sometimes I go weeks, sometimes months without going to my own website. It's just not something that's probably on your radar, but now is a perfect time as we start the new year and as you do these reflections to revisit your marketing and say, is this accurate? Is this speaking to that person that I want to be reaching? Chances are there's always something you can be tweaking. I am a professional copywriter and I still visit my own website every once in a while. And again, like I said, sometimes it's longer than it should be, but there's always a place that I'm like, you know what? I don't know that that's speaking 100% to my ideal client. So I make an adjustment. So be willing to now go back and look at some of your marketing. Look at your marketing brochures. Think about your blog topics for the upcoming year and let all of those things be informed by your understanding of your ideal client and by your understanding of what makes you unique that you bring into the therapy room. So that second way to kickstart marketing in 2021 is to revisit your ideal client and revisit your marketing through that lens. And then the third thing that I really encourage that you do, and this shouldn't come as a surprise based on what we've talked about so far, is I want you to create 3 monthly marketing habits. And you may be sitting here saying, Anna, I do marketing all the time. Like I sit in front of my Facebook page and try to figure out what to say every single week. And I get that. I know that there are some recurring marketing activities that you're probably engaging in. If you blog, you're doing that on a monthly or biweekly basis or whatever that is. But I want you to establish some marketing habits that are more around the health of your marketing. So a couple that I would suggest you add in. Number one is reviewing your Psychology Today data, reviewing your website analytics. If you looking at your numbers, if this is the first time that you've done that after watching this video, that's a sign that we can probably be doing that a little bit more frequently, and monthly is a great time to do that. I strongly encourage every single one of my one-on-one clients to document their Psychology Today data each month, because that's going to show you what is working in your profile and what isn't, so that you can continue to see results. So maybe that's a monthly marketing habit that you add in. Maybe a monthly marketing habit you establish because networking is going to be really important to you this year is to reconnect or connect with 2 referral sources a month. Because remember, the effective the effective networking that we talk about in this group is based on relationship. It's not based on transactions, right? We're not just sending out business cards and hoping that you get a phone call. You are fostering relationship with that referral contact. And one of the best ways to do that is to stay in touch with these folks. So maybe you have on your monthly marketing agenda that you're going to reconnect with at least 2 of those contacts every single month to make sure that you're just staying in touch with them, that they know that you're still there and that you're still valuable and you're still an awesome expert in your space. Maybe one of your monthly marketing habits is to review, oh, here's Piper, hi Pipes, is to review 1 website page per month. Maybe you're going to agree, okay, I'm going to always pull up my website at least once a month, and I'm going to review 1 of those pages to make sure that it's on point. You're not having to do an entire website audit every single month, right? But make sure that you are staying on top of these things. These insights that you just gained in the first 2 ways to kickstart your marketing, you can start bringing into just your regular cadence of your practice. And you're going to find that if you can just keep on top of these things and keep asking yourself, what can I learn from this? What can I learn from this? It's going to make your marketing start to pick up this momentum. As I have had clients keep track of their Psychology Today data, for instance, over the course of 3 to 6 months, we've been able to make small tweaks, and every single time we make a tweak, they get more and more effective, right? I just helped someone with a Psychology Today audit, and their website clicks increased over 100% in a single month. But we wouldn't have known that if we hadn't been keeping track of things, right? So add in a couple of monthly marketing habits that are going to help you maintain your marketing health, so that it's not just at the beginning of each year that you're looking at these things, but it's something that you're doing regularly and that you're infusing into the cadence of your practice. That is going to help you be so much more effective. And instead of feeling like you always have to do an overhaul, I talk to so many therapists that are like, my entire website needs work. Imagine if you could just take that 1 page at a time, 1 month at a time, and you can chip away at it. And all of a sudden that overwhelm of improving your marketing is taken down to this really easy to consume, kind of bite-sized to-do list for you, instead of something that you feel like is just always hanging over you. So friends, the 3 ways that I really recommend you kickstart your marketing in 2021, get yourself set up for success, is number 1, look at your numbers, look at your data. Even if it's scary, even if you don't like math, take a look at things and just ask, is there anything I can learn from this? What is this showing me? Number 2, revisit your ideal client, because it is okay if that ideal client has changed. And then revisit your marketing through that lens. Ask yourself, is my marketing resonating with this person? And then number 3, create 3 new monthly marketing habits that are focused on maintaining the health of your marketing, making sure that you're staying up to date and that you're making small changes over time that are ultimately going to help you be more effective. Those are my 3 ways that I recommend you kickstart your marketing. It's what I've been coaching my clients on in those practice power hours this month. And I think it's going to be really, really effective for you. Let me see if we've had any questions come in here. I don't think so, but sometimes Facebook gets real weird with questions. So let's just double check here. Alrighty. I'm not seeing any questions, so hopefully we're good. But if I've missed them, I will absolutely hop over and type in my answers. But hopefully this has been helpful for you, friends. I'm really grateful that you're here. I'm really grateful to be part of this group. Next week, like I said, we're going to be talking about Psychology Today analytics, so definitely don't miss that. That's going to be a very actionable, here's what to do kind of training that you can start adding into your monthly marketing habits. So thank you again for being here. I will see you very, very soon. Enjoy the weekend.